When we talk about folding and flipping smartphones, it's hard not to talk about Samsung since they basically cemented themselves as the leader in this form factor. But that was during a time when options were, well, pretty scarce. But as each day passes, technology improves, and I can confidently say that the OPPO Find N2 Flip does bring pretty significant improvements to the flip game. Let's start with the obvious, this large screen. Among all the available folding phones on the market today, the OPPO Find N2 Flip has the largest cover display at 3.2 inches. Now this size makes it really easy to navigate through the widgets and read notifications and messages. And as expected, it works incredibly well with the cameras too. I'm happy to find that it's a really well-built display as well, a really good first attempt at a larger cover screen for a flip phone. Colors are vibrant, animations are smooth, and it's pretty bright even when under the sun.
It's functional too, but not as functional as I had hoped. I'll get to that in a little bit. First, let's talk about what it can do.
As mentioned, the large display does make it easy to read notifications, and you're even given quick reply options too. This worked for all the messaging apps I used, including Facebook Messenger and Instagram, but OPPO says that it would work across a number of popular apps as well. More widgets are also expected to come, including a Spotify one, which I am really excited about.
My favorite, and probably everybody's favorite use of the cover display, is for the camera. On today's smartphones, you will find that the rear shooter produces better photos, but with a flip phone and a cover display of this size, it's so much easier to get higher quality selfies, videos, and photos.
Apart from taking photos, you can even preview them too. I absolutely love this feature since I can instantly show my friends the photos without even opening my phone. I can even zoom in and out if I want to see more details. Now, the OPPO Find N2 Flip's large cover display makes it easily lovable, but it also became sort of frustrating. In a good way, hear me out. I personally came to love the cover display so much that I just ended up wanting more from it.
If it offered just a little bit more functionality, I would be over the moon, but I guess that's technology we'll have to see on future foldables.
One other thing that has me iffy over this cover screen is the extra care you'll need to exert. I'm not the best at keeping my screen scratch-free, so this is a real concern for me. There is a screen protector pre-installed, luckily, and I would highly suggest that you keep it on, as this display offers no protection against scratches. And now on to the cameras.
With the size and form factor of foldables, I kind of understand how getting true flagship level quality cameras can be a challenge. And it is one of the things that has kept me from getting a flip phone myself, despite loving almost everything about it. But like I said earlier, as each day passes, technology improves, and the OPPO Find N2 Flip's cameras are definitely an improvement.
We have a dual camera setup here, with the 50 megapixel main camera taking on the bulk of the work. The 8 megapixel ultra-wide does its job well enough too, and is good support for the main camera. In bright light and for taking photos of people and animals, the OPPO Find N2 Flip is very capable. That Hasselblad color tuning is a great big plus, as the photos produced have well-balanced and faithful colors all around. As a person who isn't a fan of overly saturated images, I am very satisfied with the color science on this device. Facial touch-ups, though a tad bit aggressive, are handled well, and you won't look overly filtered as long as you have the proper levels set. Overall, these cameras performed beyond what I expected, especially since this is just OPPO's second attempt at a flip phone.
But it's not perfect. While it did do well in a lot of different scenarios, it had a hard time with two things: low light and zoom.
Noise and artifacts are more prominent once you fall into less desirable shooting conditions. This goes for the zoom as well. We do have OPPO's Silicon X that can help reduce noise in low light video, but again, better lighting is the most ideal for these cameras. For its selfie camera, it's not surprising to see a high megapixel shooter on an OPPO device. With this 32 megapixel shooter, you can count on clean and detailed selfies, though the same low light problem does exist.
But in all honesty, I rarely use those front-facing cameras in my time with this device. It is a flip after all, so I would rather use the combination of its rear cameras plus this large cover display.
For one, quality is evidently better when you use the rear cameras, and it's easy enough to control with the cover display. Plus, it's just plain fun to use it and instantly impresses anyone I want to take a selfie with. Another major pain point for Flip is its battery life. With an alternative and tiny form factor than the usual brick phone, it's unsurprising that companies are still figuring out on how to make the battery bigger and last longer. But OPPO sure did its homework, as the Find N2 Flip is able to pack a 4300 mAh battery, the largest on a flip phone so far. And not only that, it also has 44-watt Super VOOC charging too, that fetches you 50% battery in just 25 minutes. In the real world, the phone was able to last about 6 to 7 hours. This was in using it for all sorts of things, including taking photos, killing time on social media, some email work, and the usual daily smartphone tasks. Battery life is still not as good as your usual brick phone, and that's why I'm glad that fast charging is there, since you will most likely have to top up before the day ends.
With these three major improvements, I've found that the OPPO Find N2 Flip is one of the most enjoyable flip phones I've had the opportunity to try. It still doesn't tick all the boxes of my daily smartphone, but it's a great sign that flip phones are getting better and better with every release.
Before we wrap things up here, I do still want to glaze over other noteworthy features on this phone. I really appreciate that OPPO did its best to insert as much as it can to make this phone as premium as it can be. Its main display, for example, is practically flagship level, and that crease is the most unnoticeable I've seen out of all the flip phones I've tried. You also have a top-tier processor, a good amount of RAM, large storage, dual speakers with Dolby Atmos, and dual 5G SIM support too. And another thing that makes this a bit more appealing is its price. For what the OPPO Find N2 Flip is offering, I think you're getting a pretty good deal, especially when comparing it to other flip phones on the market today.
To wrap things up here, let's go back to the question that started it all. What does the OPPO Find N2 Flip do better? Three things: the camera, the battery, and that beautiful cover display. Plus, you're getting a bunch of flagship level features that only add to the value of this device. Its major downsides aren't really major at all, and that includes some heating issues that limited cover screen functionality, bloatware here and there, and stuff like that. But for me, personally, I believe its pros outweigh the cons.
The OPPO Find N2 Flip is one heck of a good flip phone, that's for sure, and becomes a viable competitor to the ever-popular Samsung Flip devices. And we're just lucky enough to have it in our country.